What's up, Corey?
How are you, my friend?
Good. Just my last interview ran a little bit longer. Man, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Look at you. Long time no see. Still as handsome as ever.
They pay you to say that. They pay you to say that. I know Capital wouldn't have it any other way. You must call him handsome and beautiful.
It's in this moment that Danny Gokey introduces me to his new dog.
Here she is.
Look at this.
This is my little Fifi.
Fifi.
Cake. Yep, Fifi Cakes.
And she is a what?
It's called a teddy bear. They are Bichons and Shih Tzus.
Hold the phone, Danny. I think we have the same dog. My dog's 11, and I think all of that stuff you just said, not the teddy bear part, but everything else, I think we've got that dog.
Are you kidding me?
As I'm looking at your dog right now, they look pretty close in character, so...
Corey, if you would have saw my post on Instagram yesterday, did you see it?
I'm going to go look at it as soon as we're done.
You need to go look at it because my wife made me take Fifi. Apparently there's a dog car seat. She bought a dog car seat. And then my dog has like barrettes in her hair, or hair clips. I know barrettes. I don't know if they call them that anymore. And a pink. It's unreal the level that you could take these dogs now. I'm just not sure if it felt really weird walking into my kid's school with this dog on a pink leash, a pink fake Louis Vuitton leash. It's not real, but it's the Louis Vuitton leash. I mean, it's weird. Anyways, I digress.
What else with Corey, man? This guy can podcast like nobody can. What else with Corey, man? You will look deep inside of yourself and feel something you've never felt when he asks what else with Corey, man.
Danny Gokey, welcome to the podcast.
What's up, Corey, man?
Let's start off with some super random questions to kind of get you warmed up. You and I have done this dance before. I consider you a friend, so there's nothing weird that's coming your way, but it's just to get us a little warmed up. Are we good with that?
Let's do it. Fifi's ready too, by the way.
Love me some Fifi. Rate your happiness level right now on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being through the roof. Where are you at right now?
I would give myself a 6 right now. I just woke up. I slept in today, Corey. I literally woke up this morning early, and I woke up yesterday at 4:30 in the morning, and I went to the gym. But this morning I woke up at like 5, and I took a melatonin and went right back to bed. I said, I'm not getting up this early again. So,
what kind of hours do you keep?
What kind of hours do I keep? Well, I mean, we go to bed pretty early, but the problem is I can go to bed early, me and my wife, but we could sit on our phones quite a long time in our bed, and scroll. Unfortunately, it's a habit I'm trying to break.
So when you are scrolling, you and your wife, what is your scroll of choice?
Unfortunately, Instagram.
Unfortunately, why?
Because I'm sucked into the vacuum of Instagram, and the suction is so strong that it's hard to get out. But I typically start there, and then I go to audiobooks, and I kind of spend a good amount of the night listening to audiobooks. I do a lot of audiobooks, a lot.
You and me both. I do not enjoy the font anymore of current books. I like to be read to. Current book, do you have one right now?
Yes, I'm reading Miles Monroe, Dr. Miles Monroe, his book on the power and the purpose of the Holy Spirit, and it's really cool. And I just finished reading Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan, the allegory, which is such a good book. There's been such good books I've got. I mean, Pilgrim's Progress was written back in like 1678. And it is, I think, the second most popular Christian book behind the Bible.
So it sounds like you read to better yourself.
I do. I'm a person who I've made too many mistakes. I've hit my head on the wall too many times, and I'm trying to educate myself. I just think, especially with the way that our world is flowing, you gotta just know what you believe so that you're not sucked into the lies, right? Because the earth, like Miles Monroe, I just listened to a message of him this morning called how to have good character, like the purpose of good character. He was talking about like characters. You would call the alphabet characters. A is a character. He said, A is A at 12 o'clock and 2 in the morning. A is not in bed with someone else. A is not lying. B is not lying. You know what you get when you get these characters. And right now, the foundation, that's a foundational thing of our world. And so I'm just learning how to keep my foundation sure because a lot of things are changing right now.
If humans came with a warning label, what's Danny's warning label?
Warning, I process out loud.
Is that a blessing or a curse? Is it something you got to work on, or you're okay with that?
I would have told you I was okay with it because I was just being honest, but the new and revised and the learning, Danny, is understanding that that words have power. And a lot of times you can create more confusion or you can create more clarity. And so I learned who to process with, and I learned not every, I know we know this, right? But not every emotion has to be expressed, right? So here's a little kicker that I've been learning. You can be honest, but you can be honestly wrong, right? So a lot of times when you're processing, you're honestly wrong about what you're processing about. And so you can just learn to that's why I'm a book reader, because I'm just like, I think I can get a lot of clarity on situations and just be more sure and less divided with myself and just be a blessing to more people. I'm not hard on myself. I'm not I don't judge myself. I just know that a lot of times when you're in ignorance, you stay in experimentation, and experimentation is where you just confuse a lot of things.
I feel like I know a lot about Danny Gokey. I've been a fan for a long time. You and I have had a friendship for a number of years. But for someone who's new to this podcast, 3 things that we do not know about Danny Gokey that you'd care to share.
Okay. I have 2 Anatolian Shepherds. Anatolian Shepherds, they're super strong dogs. They run away a lot. Unfortunately, I have a reputation in my neighborhood for my dogs. I live on 24 acres. My dogs jumping my fence, getting out from my fence, and running away. So that is the reputation I don't want to have, but I have it. And these dogs are awesome, but man, they're hard to keep in the fence. Number 2, I used to drive a semi-truck. Danny Gokey was a semi-truck driver. And
I thought about you recently. I was on one of our major highways, and I knew you and I were going to talk real soon, and a truck passed me, and I wondered, are you ever driving and you kind of have that moment of, that could be me. That could have been me.
As a matter of fact, last night I had this moment where I'm watching this Instagram video of this truck just going down the freeway, passing the trucks. And for the first time in my life, I said, oh, I kind of missed that. I've never said that before.
Wow.
Yeah. Danny Gokey played trumpet for many years.
You and me both.
Yeah, dude. Trumpet. Let's go.
From 8th grade to senior year.
Mine was 5th grade to freshman year. A couple of years ago, I pulled it out on tour, and I played a song with the band.
Very nice. My claim to fame was my junior or senior year. I got the solo on Georgia on My Mind.
No. Corey, did you mess it up or did you bless it up?
I did really well at band camp. I nailed it at band camp because we rehearsed it over and over again. But the night I had to deliver it was cold. I got dry mouth. It was a train wreck.
I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, but that happens. There's times where I reach for that note, Corey, on my vocal cords. My throat's dry. It's cold, or I'm sweating. Yeah, I hit a note a couple shows ago that just my band left backstage. They were making fun of me. It's pretty bad.
What assumptions do you think people who don't know you make about you based off of social media?
Woo, Corey. That's a good question. Shall I say a Christian nationalist? I don't know. That word's being thrown away everywhere because I love my country, and I've made it known that I love my country. And so I get a lot of judgment on that one. Some people think I'm Hispanic, and I'm not, because they'll see that I'll release video clips of songs in Spanish. But I'm actually a white guy who learned Spanish, culture has been a huge thing in my life. You fill in the blank, and it's easy. I was always the white guy amongst Latinos, always the white guy amongst the black culture, always the white guy among, the Asian culture. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up in such a diverse place and I love diversity. So sometimes people get confused of who I am, what I am.
Do the kids, are they bilingual? Are you bilingual under your roof?
Yeah, we are, because abuelo and abuela live with us. And so we have a little house behind this house where they stay with us because they help us. And so, yeah, they only speak Spanish. So I was talking to my wife in Spanish last night trying to get some code out. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. My kids have just caught on so much. Can't have a code language around the kids.
Before we get too far past this, you dropped that you live on 24 acres. Is that, in your mind, Danny Gokey, the real estate guy for down the road? Is that the blessings of the gift you have of singing, and you want to live on a big farm. And what do you do with 24 acres?
This is the blessings of a few things, the blessings of obedience. Actually, this property that I live on, I won't develop it. I don't see any need to develop it because I love it. But God really blessed us with this property. And if I were to tell you the story, it would probably blow your mind. It's just an amazing God story. Because this house wasn't even on the market. Very short story. This lady was praying. Just met her one time, her and her husband. She called my realtor. She had gotten this house because she had a relationship with a bank. And she called my realtor and said, "Hey, do you still know Danny Gokey?" And he said, "Yes." She goes, "I was praying this morning. And the Lord told me, as I was praying, that this house that I just bought doesn't belong to me. It belongs to them. Are they interested?" And this house fulfilled every check mark on the box. As a matter of fact, it even fulfilled a prophetic dream that someone had years earlier to the T. This prophetic dream described, I just lost Sophia years ago, but this prophetic dream described this property with a guest house and this house, the land, even to the fact that I had 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. This is back when I was single still, when I first, as a matter of fact, the lady who gave me the dream didn't tell me the whole dream. She wrote it in her journal. She just told me part of it. As you can see, this house was a great blessing to me. So we love it. It is a nice house, and praise the Lord for it.
Last time you had a "this can't be happening" moment.
Last time I had a "this can't be happening" moment, we did our first show last year in Guatemala. Great show. I mean, 12,000 people. And I'm like, this is amazing. The next day we leave towards the airport and travel hell breaks loose. To the point where I had to sleep on the floor of the airport while a guy's vacuuming near my head. Yeah, I kind of got depressed after that. I'm not gonna lie.
A little bit of humility that night, right?
Humility. I mean, talk about being mistreated by TSA, and yeah, it was pretty bad. And it took me a little while to recover. I ain't gonna lie. Unfortunately, it did. But then, at hindsight, I just see, you know what? If I would have just embraced humility a little bit more, it wouldn't have been that bad of an experience. But because I felt like maybe I deserved better treatment or something, I got all up in my head.
We're getting in the DeLorean. We're going back in time. 8th season of American Idol. Adam Lambert wins that year. Chris Allen, number 2. You're the best third-place dude I know. Do you talk to any of those folks from back in that season?
Oddly enough, we went years without talking. And then recently, 5th place contestant Matt Gerard, he put us all on a text thread. And once in a while now, we all just text. It's kind of cool. I would have never thought. It is a little funny text thread. It doesn't last very long, It's a memory that is just so etched into my heart and mind. A good memory. Like, I kind of wish there'd be a reunion, but I just don't see that ever going to happen.
I went down the rabbit trail because it's been a while, and I went through every song you performed, just to see what each week was and the themes. I love the Michael Jackson week. I think you did PYT, which one of my favorite Michael songs. I think there was an Aerosmith week, or maybe you did Dream On. You're one of 6 siblings, is that right?
Yes, I'm number 5 out of 6.
Do any of them have the DG sauce, performer, writer, singer, or anything, or are you the only one?
They could have had it. They just stopped developing their gift because we would all sing. So if you ask my wife, as a matter of fact, my brother was the one that people were more hopeful from. He made the elite singing group in high school that I got cut from and didn't make. And to that day, I hear that teacher kind of kicks herself in the butt because I never got a chance. It was the elite group that recorded music, that toured, a little bit at the school. And I didn't make it, Corey. You know why? Probably because I had a lot of pimples on my face. I have no idea.
2014, you send Hope in Front of Me to Christian radio. What is it like for an artist to release a song into the wild?
Well, by that time, after going through the American Idol machine and just getting burnt left and right by people's opinions, I had no more feelings left. So I was glad to send out more songs. There was a little bit of feelings there. I was nervous. I was truly, truly nervous. I mean, this year is the 10th year. I mean, think about it. This month 10 years ago, that song changed my life. Corey, do you realize that I think during this month 10 years ago, my washer broke down. I have a song at radio. I have $40 in my account, and I got to feed my family. And I got down on my knees and I said, Lord, if this song doesn't work, I don't know how I'm going to provide for the future. I was getting ready to have to maybe sell my house and sell my cars to just to kind of downsize so I could live off of some of the funds that were, I had a lot of money locked into the house, right? And so I was like, if this doesn't work, but during this time of releasing Hope in Front of Me, I think you were the first 7 stations to add. That was my ad week, 7 stations. This song just blew up, but it was kind of cool because I ended up getting a check in the mail, the unexpected, mysterious check in the mail for $1,400. And I remember I went to Costco that week because that was a sign to me that God was going to take care of it, that he's got me, no pun intended on that one. And I went to Costco to go buy a washer, and I walked in the door and I said, honey, God's buying, get whatever you want. And it was a day.
I was listening to a podcast with Ryan Tedder just yesterday, and it was from 2022, Danny, and he said at that time, 75,000 songs are downloaded a day on Spotify. 75,000 songs a day. And I kind of took that in for a minute. So I jump on Spotify. Your top streaming song currently is Haven't Seen It Yet. Why do you think that song is resonating the most with your catalog, with people?
Well, it's interesting because it wasn't that way. Social media does a huge push for me. Last year, I was able to get a song called Stay Strong out. So I'll get to the question that Capitol wasn't interested in releasing, and that song went viral. And that was my goal last year. Last year, 2023, I had no single go to radio. Capitol wanted me to just work on a new record. And I kept pulling the flag on this song called Stay Strong. So I hired a full-time video guy, and I put the Stay Strong out with content around it, and it blows up. So you know what I did this year? I was like, I didn't focus on Haven't Seen It Yet. And so I went and put out a video of Haven't Seen It Yet. Dude, went just to top. I just think people, there's so much music comes out when you remind them by putting out a good video with lyrics, or it just goes to the top and people go back, they're reminded. And truly the lyrics of that song, Haven't Seen It Yet, is just a hopeful song, because Tell Your Heart to Beat Again was at the top for a long time. It was always at the top. Apple Music, it was Haven't Seen It Yet, always number one. But Spotify was always Tell Your Heart to Beat Again. And since I put the video out a couple weeks ago, it has just blown up on my social media and on Spotify. So I think the message is hopeful, and people want hope. It's 2024. We're going into a year that's, election. So I think a lot of people are just nervous, like, Lord, what's going to happen? So I think people want to trust God fully. They just want to see God do things. They want to have a faith in something higher than in politics, probably, and higher than in, higher than them trying to take care of themselves. You know what I mean? Providing for themselves. We see inflation is up, and so people are like, God, if my bills aren't paid right now, I know that you're a provider, and I haven't seen it yet, but you're going to come through. So I think that hopeful message about the kingdom of God helps while we live in kind of an unstable world.
Have you ever been performing, you're in full Danny mode, and one of your songs has an emotional impact on you that was unexpected?
Yeah, there's been times that's happened. There really has been times.
I'll tell you mine while you think. I heard on our radio station, I heard Rise, and you hit a couple of notes in there that stopped me in the hallway, and I had a moment. One of my favorite vocal performances is Stand in Faith. And It's really embarrassing when you try to sing along with you in the car. It's one of my favorite moments of that song when you're like, I will stand in. It's embarrassing for me, but sometimes I just let you do your thing and I digest it.
Well, still to this day, Stand in Faith is one of my favorites to sing live. The only story that comes to my mind right now, and maybe this is not the story you're looking for, but was when I was writing Stand in Faith, I just a month earlier just asked the Lord for some really big prayer requests. While I'm writing Stand in Faith, I get a call that ended up changing my life, changed the trajectory of my ministry. It didn't happen immediately, but that call was a domino effect that where I actually, when I wrote Stand in Faith, I had to live it out now. I had to see by faith, receive by faith, believe by faith, because it looked like it wasn't going to happen, what was promised was going to happen. And then it turned around in a moment, and I couldn't believe it. But it was crazy that started while I was writing that song. So really, Stand in Faith comes out to one of those songs that I lived out. Probably the first song like that where I actually lived out a message that I wrote. You always live it up, but I had to keep telling myself, I'm going to receive it. No, I see it because it looks like it's not going to happen. And then it happened.
Do you ever sing for fun?
All the time. And here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. My wife, I'll just be singing in the store, singing. She's like, you look like you're showing off, right? Like people, and I'm like, no, I didn't think that. That's what I do. Like, it felt so shameful, but I get what she's saying because I'll just be singing everywhere I go. And I don't mean to be like, I'm not here trying to impress people. It's just what I do. And so I do get my wife's point of view. She's like, by the way, it just looks like you're just kind of like showing off in public. Oh, I guess I could see that.
Do you ever just go in a karaoke place and destroy? Have you done that ever?
Dude, I have. It's not fun to see the people's faces. They know they don't know what happened. Corey, I don't do anything half bootied. You know what I mean? I do everything full. Yeah.
If you were to walk in a place like that right now, what song comes to mind? Like, I'm going to do this one tonight.
Oh, dude, I've done PYT. PYT, though, shows a nice little range. Sorry, I'm bragging on myself a little bit, which probably is not cool, but PYT, I can let some steam go on that one. I typically don't do it. But when I go with people and they just won't stop, I'll go, okay, I'll get up here. I'll shame every single person in this room. And then I'll...
I want to love you, PYT. You just brought up this date, 2024, hope in front of me, 10 years ago. What do you still want to do?
Okay, well, there is this side of me that still wants to see me write my best and biggest songs. Yeah, biggest. There's a part of me, because right now I'm in the process of, the Lord has really instructed me to begin to build my ministry, not just the music side, but other aspects of my ministry. And so my ministry owns 60 acres here in Nashville, and we're building a 10,000 square foot fabricated facility because there's some work that we're going to start a community garden. There's a lot of things I'm going to do with this land that I'm in the process of. So I can't wait to see where that goes. Like right now I have to raise like $1.5 million to get this building up and to rehab a few things and get it going. But that's a big thing for me. But on the other side, the music side, I'm like, I still want to get to a place where I sell out arenas. I know that sounds maybe just so prideful, but like, is that possible at my age that God could still do that? Now, I'm not putting any pressure on myself because ultimately 2024 is a year for me. I literally pulled the plug on my spring tour and said, I'm going to take a break and just lean into God because I don't want to, I've been going for a long time. I need a break. And part of that break is just leaning into the voice of God to make sure I'm hitting the target of his will for me specifically. But yeah, is there a desire to do a tour in arenas to even have my biggest songs yet? Heck yeah. Thanks for having me. I can't believe that. I'll tell you this. You have some of the most interesting questions that I ever get to ask. I mean, you really put a lot of thought into your craft, and I appreciate that.
Danny, great to see you, and I will see you down the road, okay?
Yes, it was great being on this podcast with you. Be prepared, man. Your systems might go down the amount of people that listen to this podcast, so I just want to warn you.
Hey, if you ever want to reach out and send me an email or comment about the podcast, whatelsewithcoreymann@gmail.com.
What Else with Corey Mann? With your host, Corey Mann. Original music and theme song by Chris Cron. Share this episode with a friend, and thanks for listening.